if for those who have been listening to me a while now, recognize that I am someone believing in data, believe in empirical evidence. I do not believe in feelings and old talk. So when you bring things to me, if it's not steeped in empirical data, you will find me very hostile towards it because I have grown intolerant of old talk and stupidness. I've grown intolerant. So when you are coming to me with your ideas, make sure those ideas are grounded in some sort of empirical data, some sort of philosophy that can be tested, that can be looked at in a certain way. And if you are not doing that, you may find me being on the hostile side. I'm looking again at the whole bit of old talk again going on. People begin sending these videos around again, these videos with somebody just talking on YouTube or TikTok or something like that, that has no base in facts or data. I want to say to you kindly, do not send it to me. You may find some other pastor who is willing to listen to this kind of nonsense, but do not send it to me. If what you are sending is not based on empirical evidence, Terence Brown do not want to hear it. I am not into gossip and will talk, and I'm not into it. I dread it. I know it is destructive, and because of that, you please, I'm begging you. If you cannot, if you are not, if you are anti-science and things like that, I'm not the person to engage with. I'm not the person to engage with. I'm not. I just want you to know that a word to the wise is sufficient. And this morning, before I move, I want to say this program, who has been here for all these years, is at a crossroad. I sent out a message on broadcast this morning. Folks asked me, what do I mean by a crossroad? It means that this program is on the air for one reason, major reason, is to bring some enlightenment to those who are hearing, to enable them to improve their life and live a victorious lifestyle. But to be here, it is a costly thing. And if it is not supported by those who are listening, then it cannot continue. And I just want to say that. And we are not asking for much, as I always say, one cocoa fill the basket. Anything that you send to the program adds up. The first million started with number one. So I just want to say that. And if you really value the program and think that this program should be on air, then it will become part, we got to be part of the whole thing in trying to make sure that the flag of Jesus is waved as high as it could, that men and women can come to have a better, more fulfilling life, more life of less pain and struggles, depression, and distress. So I'm saying this morning, if you feel that this program is worth that, then you can send whatever, could be $1, could be 50 cents, to First Citizen Bank, TET Limited. The account number is 1450203, or Republic or Royal Bank of Canada, RBC 100-791-703-24555. Again, 100-791-703-24555. You can call me right after the program on 463-4376, 463-4376. Now, this morning I want to speak about healing of mind, body, and soul. And this healing is not done through massages or medication, or it just simply how God had intended us to be healed. And this is what I'm doing this morning, the healing of mind, body, soul is a natural process. And while food we eat makes up a large component of our health, the truth, sorry, is the mind and soul, When we say soul, we mean the well-being, the emotions, the desires, the inner feeling that we possess contribute to the health of the body. And I want to say that again. The mind and soul contribute to the health of the body. And you know what the mind is? So I just wanted, for those who may be confused by soul and think it's some extra being that leaves the body and things like that. When we say soul, what we are saying is your well-being, your emotions, your desires, your inner feelings, the things that we process inside of us on a daily basis. This contributes to the health of the body. And why I say New Start is great, but added to this is the healing of the mind and soul, which is responsible for the healing of the body. If the mind and soul is not well, the body will remain sick. Sometimes people are in the hospital for years simply because there are two fundamental things that God has given us for that healing of the body that we neglect and we remain sick. The key is love and forgiveness. I want to first explore love. Love is the most dynamic and complex issue. I don't want to take the theological or the ideological view of love, but I want to first bring the phenomenological, a view that lived experience of the people. What is real? I want to deal with the epistemology of the whole idea of love, how we see it, how we relate to it as a people, and not from some ideological position. So when I'm going to give a short discourse on how the philosophers saw love and how we, as a common man, how we see love. And I want to show what God has given for that healing of mind, body, soul. Romantic love. We all know what I'm speaking when I say romantic love. Beautiful and intoxicating, heartbreaking and soul crushing, often all at the same time. But why do we choose to put ourselves through this emotional winger? Why do we choose? From one heartbreak, we go into another, for another heartbreak. Why do we choose? Does love make our lives meaningful? Or is it an escape from our loneliness and suffering? Is love a disguise for our sexual desire? Or is it a trick of biology to make us procreate? Is it all we need? I'm asking certain question this morning as I explore this whole idea of love. Do we need it at all? If romantic love has a purpose, neither science, sociology, nor psychology has discovered it as yet. But over the course of history, some of our most powerful philosophers have put forward some intriguing theories that I want to share with us this morning. The Greek philosopher Plato explored the idea that we love in order to become complete. And I'm saying these philosophies are not expressed as philosophies, but this thinking is part of the lived experience of all of us. You will have heard someone say they find completeness in someone, but that idea came from Plato. In his symposium, he wrote about a dinner party at which Aristophanes, a comic playwright, regales the guests with the following story. He said humans were once created with 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 faces. One day they angered the gods, and Zeus sliced them all in 2. Since then, every person has been missing half of him or herself. Love is the longing to find a soulmate who will make us feel whole again. Or at least that's what Plato believed a drunken comedian would say at a party. And I want to say that drunken comedian idea is germane. You see it in love books, you see it in charms, you see it in poems, that finding that person to make you whole. But it came from an idea by Plato. Much later, a German philosopher, Arthur Schopenhauer, maintained that love based in sexual desire was a voluptuous illusion. He suggests that we love because our desires lead us to believe that another person will make us happy. But we are sorely mistaken, Sophia said. Nature is tricking us into procreation, and the loving fusion we seek is consummated in our children. And you would have heard that. People say they're living their life to their children. Their children is the joy. The love of the children is all they need. These are ideas of ancient that have come down to us. When our sexual desires are satisfied, said, when our sexual desires are satisfied, we are thrown back into our tormented existence, and we succeed only in maintaining the species and perpetuate the cycle of human drudgery. Oh my God. Seems to me like someone needs a hug. According to the Nobel Prize winner, British philosopher Bertrand Russell, we love in order to quench our physical and psychological desires. Humans are designed to procreate, but without the ecstasy of passionate love, sex is unsatisfying. Again, you have heard that from sexologists and things like that. Our fear of the cold, cruel world tempts us to build hard shells to protect and isolate ourselves. Love's delight, intimacy, and warmth helps us to overcome our fear of the world, escape our lonely shells, and engage more abundantly in life. Love enriches our whole being, making it the best thing in life. These are ideas, friend, that I want to cover because I want us to understand how love brings healing. Siddhartha Gautama, who became known as the Buddha or the Enlightened One, probably would have some real argument with what I just read from Russell there. Buddha proposed that we love because we are trying to satisfy our base desires. Yet our passionate craving are defects, and attachments, even romantic love, are a great source of suffering. That's what Buddha said. Luckily, Buddha discovered the Eightfold Path, a sort of program for extinguishing the fires of desire so that he can reach nirvana, an enlightened state of peace, clarity, and wisdom and compassion. So he didn't have to go through what he says we are going through. The novelist Keo Juquin illustrates this Buddhist sentiment that romantic love is folly in one of the China's great classical novels, Dreams of the Red Chamber. In a subplot, Jia Ru falls in love with Zifeng, who tricks and humiliates him. Conflicting emotions of love and hate tear him apart. So Taoists give him a magic mirror that can cure him as long as he doesn't look at the mirror, at the front of it. Well, of course, he looks at the front of it. He sees Zifeng. His soul enters the mirror and he is dragged away into the iron chains to die. Now, not all Buddhists think this way about romantic and erotic love. But the moral of this story is that such attachments spell tragedy and should, along with magic mirrors, be avoided. So that's what they say, avoid love. But can you avoid love? Why are we so compelled? Why is that desire? Is it just a learned habit? Why do this thing of love drags us on from one failed affair to another? We still go back as a sucker for punishment. Why is that so? The French philosopher Simone de Beauvoir proposed that love is a desire to integrate with another, and that it infuses our lives with meaning. However, she was less concerned with why we love and more interested in how we can love better. She saw that the problem with traditional romantic love is it can be so captivating, she said, that we are tempted to make it our own reason for being. That's why some people commit suicide when a loved one perishes. And when a loved one perishes, there's a pain that stings and burns in your heart for hours. That there were some people cannot take that pain. Some people do every other thing to make sure they avoid that pain. And some people just decide that kaput, they will kill themselves. She said, yes, dependence on another to justify our existence easily leads to boredom and power games. To avoid this trap, Beauvoir advised loving authentically, which is more like a great friendship. And you will hear that. Friends and lovers. Friends, when the lover is your friend, it will last forever. You have heard that. Lovers support each other in discovering themselves, reaching beyond themselves. That's what Beauvoir is saying. Reaching beyond themselves and encircling their lives and the world together. Though we might never know why we fall in love, we can be certain that it will be an emotional roller coaster ride. It's scary and exhilarating. It makes us suffer and makes us soar. Maybe we lose ourselves. Maybe we find ourselves. It might be heartbreaking, or it might just be the best thing in life. The complexity of love has created the phenomenon where love draws us. And the reason why love draws us is because love is of God. While we may not understand it, but there's something that drives us to love. Because God understands that in love is where we find healing for mind, body, soul. God has addressed this complexity with simplicity. The entire passage found in 1 John 4, 7-21 speaks of the loving nature. Love is not merely an attribute of God, it is part of his very makeup. God is not merely loving at his core, he is love. God alone loves in the completeness and perfection of love. Love comes from God. He is the source, and it is given to us for our healing. I want to say that again. It is given to us for our healing. Love is patient, the Bible said. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. Do everything in love. Psalm 140:43 in verse 8 said, "Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love. For I have put my trust in you. Show me the way I should go. For to you I entrust my life." His psalmist is linking the idea of love and life as a one. And this is what love is all about. And this is why I'm speaking to this morning about healing of mind, soul, and body in very that order. The mind must first be healed, and that healing of the mind will help to heal that soul. And as we will communicate when I cover the soul, I'm speaking about your emotions, your desires, your inner well-being, your expressions. When that mind is well, it heals that. And when that is healed, it goes to the healing of the body. And over all things, these virtues put on love, which binds them together in perfect unity. Love brings healing, friends. In 2 Corinthians 3:3, it said, "For they will add length to your days," love speaking about, "years and peace to your life. Never let love and devotion or faithfulness leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tables of your hearts. Then you will find favor and high regard in the sight of God and man." The Bible says that since true love is part of God's nature, God is the source of love. He's the initiator of a loving relationship with us. And any love we have for God is simply a response for his sacrificial love for us. This is love. Not that we love God, but that he loved us and sent his son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. 1 John 4:10. Our human understanding of love is flawed and weak, as are demonstrated by reading the philosophers and the great writers. But I want to say what they are saying is what we feel, is what we express, is our lived experience. And because of that lived experience, we see love in a certain way, and that is passed on to others as love, and it is injurious to our well-being. Friend, the more we look at Jesus, the better we understand true love and come to love ourselves. It is only when we come to love ourselves, we can love others. And I want to say that again. Loving yourself is not wrong. Having an understanding of you, having an appreciation for who you are and how God made you, having appreciation for your state to know that a loving God will come one day and take you away from this place. Having a satisfaction of being you is the start of loving you and the start of that healing process. If you grumble every day on things that you cannot change, there can be no healing. It comes only when you come to the place to say, this is me. This is who God wants me to be. This is who God knows why he has made me this way and he has placed me in this place. And once I begin to love myself, knowing that my maker loves me, it begins that process of the healing of the mind. And getting that mind right. In Luke chapter 6 and verse 37, I'm going to the completion of the healing. Love is the first part. The second part is forgiveness. When you learn to forgive. They move together as a stamp and a letter, like Bonnie and Clyde. They move together. Luke 6:37 said, do not judge and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Do not judge. Do not judge. And this is at the heart of gossip, being judgment. And gossip, I see all the time I come and talk about gossip because I know it's the one sin that Christians hold dear to their heart, thinking that they will make it to heaven while gossiping about people. And they have unique ways, you know. Some say, well, if I talk the truth, I'm not gossiping. But then what's the purpose of telling the truth to somebody else? Some say, I'm not gossiping, I'm trying to see somebody can help them. All these ways that God knows. And now he said, do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. For when we speak about forgiveness, it is usually in the context of salvation. However, forgiveness carries other consequences apart from salvation. And what is forgiveness? Is letting go of grudges and bitterness and coming in one in a loving relationship for even those who have hurt you. I mean, when someone you care about hurts you, you can hold on to anger, resentment, and thoughts of revenge. Or you can embrace forgiveness and move forward. The choice is yours. The choice is up to you. Nearly everyone has been hurt by the action or words of another. Perhaps your mother criticized your parenting skills, or your partner had an affair. These wounds can leave you with lasting feelings of anger, bitterness, and even vengeance. But if you don't practice forgiveness, you may be the one who pays most dearly. By embracing forgiveness, you embrace peace, hope, gratitude, and joy. Just by embracing forgiveness. And what is forgiveness? Generally, forgiveness is a decision to let go of resentment and thoughts of revenge. The act that hurt or offended you may always remain a part of your life. But forgiveness can lessen its grip on you and help you focus on other positive parts of your life. Forgiveness can even lead to feelings of understanding, empathy, and compassion for the one who hurt you. Forgiveness doesn't mean that you deny the other person responsibility for hurting you, and it doesn't minimize or justify the wrong. You can forgive the person without excusing the act. Forgiveness brings a kind of peace that helps you go on with your life. There are benefits in forgiveness. Letting go of grudges and bitterness make way for compassion, make way for kindness, make way for peace. Forgiveness can lead to healthier relationships. You see, once you learn to forgive, then you can start over. If you are not forgiven, and when you start over a new relationship without forgiving from the last relationship, these things are carried over. And you find yourself going into archaeology and you find yourself always looking at the person a certain way, and you find yourself finding faults where there be none, and you find yourself making your life and the person's life a miserable hell. Just forgive and move on as if it's new. Forgiveness also brings greater spiritual and psychological well-being, because you know that I have forgiven. So when the text of the scripture is read, you know it read to reinforce some feelings in me, but not being read to condemn me. You know, when you come before your Lord for grace, and you know you can ask him for what you desire, because you know in your heart and mind you have given up all those burdens that call unforgiveness. So it brings greater spiritual and psychological well-being. Forgiveness also creates less stress and hostility. Sometimes you don't know why you are so angry, and you don't know why you are so hostile, and you don't know why certain things keep making you irritable all the time. And some it just has to do with you not forgiving. So forgiveness takes care of stress. When you see someone who you haven't forgiven, when they come into your space, it gives you that feeling, the blood pressure begin to raise, that feeling of discomfort, the whole event begin to play over in your mind, and all sorts of enzymes begin to gather in your inner being. It keeps you sick. And that's why Jesus was so concerned about us forgiving. And that's why he so demonstrates his forgiveness, that we can learn from him, because he recognized forgiveness is part of the healing of mind, soul, and body. It lowers your blood pressure also. If you are suffering high blood pressure and medication and in and out, you just think about all those who have done you wrong and conscientiously forgive them. You don't have to go by the Obeah man or the witch doctor for herbal medicine. You don't have to go to the pharmacy for herbal medicine. You just express that forgiveness in your heart. You just practice forgiveness as a daily routine. It lowers symptoms of depression, anxiety, and chronic pain. There are some people that they're the pain, as this pain not going, they're taking this, they're taking that, but the pain is still there. And you say, well, I wonder what is causing that. They just need to come to the place to forgive. That's all. You see, forgiveness is part of what God has given for you to have that internal healing. I hope that I'm getting the truth to you. It deals with depression, anxiety, and chronic pain. It lowers the risk of alcohol and substance abuse. So when you are tied up with these things and you hold on to these things and you continue with these things, and because you are there with these things, you just cannot let go. And because you can't let go, it's constant stress that you find yourself lying with wrong friends, you find yourself going out the wrong place. And some people tell themselves if their partner is unfaithful to them, then they ought to go and be unfaithful to their partner also. Because they had not been able to come to the point of forgiveness, they find themselves living in these dangerous circumstances. But I want to say it's not so easy, and not so easy to forgive. Why is it so easy to hold a grudge? To begin, your mind demands justice. It is part of you. So when something is wrong done to you, the mind begin demanding justice. This must be made right. This was wrong. This should not have been done. This should not have been done to me. And your mind begin demanding justice. You see, when you are hurt by someone you love and trust, you may become angry or sad or confused. But if you dwell on the hurtful events or situation, grudges filled with resentment, vengeance, and hostility will take root in you. And if you allow the negative feelings to crowd over positive feelings, you will find yourself swallowed up by your own bitterness and by that own sense of justice that you have. But demanding a sense of justice doesn't mean that you will get justice. And by holding on for justice can take you down the road whereby you can be ill because you fail to forgive. What are the effects of holding a grudge? If you are unforgiven, you may pay the price. You may pay the price repeatedly by bringing anger and bitterness into every other relationship and new experience. Your life may become so wrapped up in the wrong that you can't enjoy the present. You may become depressed or anxious. You may feel that your life lacks meaning or purpose, or that you are at odds with your spiritual beliefs. You may also lose valuable and enriching connectiveness with others. All because you fail to let go of something that happened in the past. And I'm saying it's no easy thing when someone hurts you. It's no easy thing. And you may ask yourself, well, how do I receive? How do I reach that state of forgiveness? Forgiveness is a commitment to a process of change. A way to begin is by recognizing the value of forgiveness and its importance in your life at a given time. And I'll tell you something. If you begin to love people and value them, then it'd be easy to forgive them. If a son burns down a father's house, the father will forgive that son most likely after a while because it's his son. Your children do something that is wrong, you may forgive them, your spouse will forgive them. But if a stranger or some acquaintance do the same thing, you will be harder for you to forgive them. And the reason for that is what you value. The more you value something, the more you want to reconcile with that thing that you value. The less you value it, the less you care about reconciling. So if you see that God, the Spirit of God or the image of God in your fellow man, then you will see their value and then you will want to renew that connectiveness. So it has to do with how you see others. So you need to understand the value of others, the value of yourself. Then reflect on the facts of the situation. How you have reacted, and how this combination has affected your life, health and well-being. When you are ready, actively choose to forgive the person who offended you. You will recognize a transforming power comes over you. Move away from your role as a victim and release the control and power the offending person and situation have had in your life. As you let go of grudges, you will no longer define your life by how you have been hurt. You will no longer define your life by that. You'll define yourself by being able to come through regardless of the hurt that you went through. You may even find compassion and understanding. Forgiveness is a one-way street. It can be challenging. It may be particularly hard to forgive someone who doesn't admit wrong, who doesn't speak of his or her sorrow. If you find yourself stuck, it may help you to write a journal, pray, or use guided meditation. You may want to walk with a person you have found to be wise and compassionate, such as a spiritual leader, a mental health provider, or unbiased family member or friend. You may also want to reflect on times that you have hurt others and on those who have given you forgiveness. Keep in mind that forgiveness has the potential to increase your sense of integrity, peace, and overall well-being. It is not against you. It is for you. It helps you. It takes you to a place that you never thought you could have gone. If the hurtful event involves someone whose relationship you otherwise value, forgiveness may lead to reconciliation. That was said a while ago. This isn't always the case, however. Reconciliation may be impossible if the offender has died or is unwilling to communicate with you. So you may not be able to reconcile. But not being able to reconcile doesn't mean that you cannot forgive. In other cases, reconciliation may not be appropriate, especially if you are attacked or assaulted. But even in those cases, forgiveness is still possible. Even if you have been raped, or the person raped your children or kill a loved one, it is a difficult assignment. But always remember, forgiveness is not for the person, but is really for you. By forgiving the person, you become free. You become free of the burden. By forgiving the person, you have enrichment of life. By forgiving the person, you will receive that healing. Those chronic back pain and neck pain and that always stress and always hurting and cannot be healed of some ailment and all the things that you may be going through and thinking that you need more medication and thinking that you need to pray without asking for forgiveness and asking to forgive others. It will not work. Love and forgiveness, they walk hand in hand. As I said to you, they're like Bonnie and Clyde. They walk hand in hand. And then you might say, well, what if I have to interact with the person who hurt me? But I don't want to. Well, if you haven't reached a state of forgiveness, being near the person who hurt you may be tense and stressful. To handle these situations, remember that you have a choice whether or not to attend specific functions and gatherings. Respect yourself and do what seems best. If you choose to attend, don't be surprised by a certain amount of awkwardness and perhaps even more intense feelings. But it's all part of the process. Do your best to keep an open heart and an open mind. You may find that the gathering helps you to move forward with forgiveness, because sometimes you're right in church there and folks have done you some grievous things. Yeah, the church members can be punishing also. And all of them, from leaders coming all the way down. But you got to come to that place to forgive for your sake. You may say, what the person not changing? Getting another person to change his or her action, behavior, or words isn't the point of forgiveness. Think of forgiveness more about how it can change you, how it can change your life by bringing you more peace, happiness, emotional and spiritual healing. Forgiveness take away the power the other person continue to wield in your life. It takes away that power. And so you are the one who needs forgiveness. And that's why the Bible gives you that instruction to go to the person who have wronged you and say you are sorry. Consider admitting the wrong you have done to those who have harmed you. Speaking of your sincere sorrow or regret, and specifically asking for forgiveness for yourself without making any excuse. Remember, however, you can't force someone to forgive you. Others need to move to forgiveness in their own time. Simply acknowledge your faults and admit your mistakes. Then commit to treating others with compassion, empathy, and respect. You go to the person who you have wronged and said, I've wronged you and I'm sorry. Whether they want to knock you over, that is their issue. And you move away and keep that idea of sorrow in your mind. So you love yourself. Learn to value others as God loved them, seeing that the love came from God. And forgiveness, the power of forgiveness comes also from God. And once you can forgive, friend, I'm saying to you this morning, you will find peace and you will find healing once you learn to forgive. Alex, we can open
Yes, Pastor, ready for some calls?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, let's open the phone line 622-4911 for Victorious Lifestyle with Pastor Brown. And you may call in right now. Pastor, back to you.
Thank you. I had an experience where I said, I'm going to leave my experiences for last, where I went to the court. I went to pay a long story. When I got to the court there, a young lady walked up to me and she said, Pastor, I want to tell you that I forgive you for what you have done. I'm looking at her now and saying, well, what could be possibly she could be speaking about? So I looked at her and she saw this stay and she said, you don't remember? I said, no. She said, well, I kept it in my heart, but my pastor was having a anointing service. And he tell all of us to go and forgive those who have done us wrong and ask for forgiveness where we have done wrong. And then you come back for the anointing service. So God sent you here this morning. Now, the issue here, what you are speaking about happened some 10 years. For 10 years, she have been carrying this burden, bearing ulcers and all sorts of things in her being. And for 10 years, I've been going my happy-go-lucky way without her on my mind. So for 10 years, she has been suffering herself, while I have been pretty normal about everything. And this is the heart of the issue about forgiveness. You see, while you are carrying that burden, anytime you see the person, your blood vessels are about to burst or your head, that person doesn't have you on their mind. They're living their best life. And you are covering with all the wrong that they did to you. They are living their best life. And you are cowered into this feeling of hurt and anger and getting sick, and you don't know why you have cancer, and the stress of course cancer, and you don't know why, and you feel.
We have a call coming in here.
Sure.
Hello, good morning. Okay, we lost that one. Feel free to call right back.
Yeah. So and you don't know why you are sick and I can't get better, but you know that Joan did you something and Harry did you something, and you don't like I see first head and you see what Monica did, and you have all these things on your plate, you know. All these things on your plate, and anytime they come back, and sometimes you don't know they keep coming back every now and then because you are not really taking note, but they come back from now and then. You think about them from every now and then, and the whole rush of blood and the whole thing, and you are sick. Whenever God has given us, that what Jesus said, forgive all our debtors.
Pastor, let's take this one.
Sure.
Hello, good morning.
A blessed day to Mr.
Thank you very much.
To Mr. Brown and
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I will start with it. One flesh, many colors, many languages, but one God.
Yeah.
You see, to forgive, everything starts with you as an individual.
Yeah.
You have senses and you have the elements. He's not a child of religion, but a child of God.
Yes.
And when you could understand, each one of us breathe the same air, walk the same earth, drink the same water. What is the confusion with the human race? Through greed. The teachers from then to now, when you listen, I like your style, how you're thinking. And if we all could come and understand, forgiveness starts with you. You have to control your senses and control your elements. We have 50% to look after ourselves, and God have the next 50% to help us. It comes like a parent. This is an example. Your parent is there. And when she say clean this, clean that, and she goes to the market to come back and see the same thing, nothing didn't happen. She will whip you. And it is no different than God. When a hurricane, when we could talk ignorance and contaminate the air with it, contaminate the water with it, this is what is going on now. Everybody running on the material world and we tap down on the spiritual world. But we have to come back to the spiritual world and understand ourselves that we need one another. And this is the human love. God makes us perfect, but through greed, we hate our own self, we hate our own brothers, we hate our own sisters. We're fighting and killing one another. We're killing my own mother for $100. And we have hands and feet just like her, but we would not go and find something to do. We're not that responsibility. As you born, you start to develop your senses. When you conceive into that belly, you are downloaded by the very action of your parent. When you're born, you start to develop your senses. You all have a blessed and wonderful, and I love your program, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. He seemed to be a senior person. He would have seen a lot of stuff, and he would have seen the destructive nature of unforgiveness, lack of love. Lack of love for self can bring on destructive behaviors. Lack of love for humanity can bring on the idea of hate and vengefulness. And lack of forgiveness can go to your detriment and your hurt. And that's why God has placed in his good book all the ideas of forgiveness and how he forgave us so much that his son died for our sins. That is ultimate of forgiveness. And he had given us such love that he had become so much love. Right on the cross was a demonstration of love and forgiveness in one place. And all he's asking us to be healed and heal of our ailment and our suffering and our mental. It's just that simple. Those two simple things there can bring healing to mind, soul, and body. And for those who came in late, I want to go over soul. You can know soul. A friend had asked me what I meant by soul. Soul is your being. This is the Greek soul. Your very emotions, your understanding, your expressions, that feeling that you have in you that you cannot touch, feel. That's something that comes. You feel it in your chest sometime, and you see it coming from your heart. That whole emotional being that you have, that well-being that you have, this is what we term the soul. And we are saying once your mind is good, that will be healed. And when that is healed, your body will be healed. So the healing for mind, soul, and body is that idea of love and forgiveness. Folks, on my way out, I want to again, as I said before, this program has reached its crossroad, and it is up to you to make sure we continue. And if it's your desire to make sure that we continue, you can send your offerings to First Citizen Bank, PG Limited, number 1450203, 1450203, or you can try RBC. Number is a long number 1000, that is 1 and 30, 1000 791 703 24555. Have a blessed day, everybody. I enjoy your presence, Alex. Be blessed. You and your family.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Appreciate it very much, and have yourself a wonderful and safe Sunday. A little rainy on the outside, but blessings indeed. So that was Victoria's Lifestyle every Sunday, 9 to 10 a.m. right here on Talk City.
Talk City 91.1 FM brings you everything that is carnival, all the Kaiso, all the pan, all the Calypso tent music, all the excitement. Talk City 91.1 FM, your